Good morning, everybody. This is Stacy Turner. Welcome to our DMOpro Zoom. So glad that you're here. I have some fun things to share with you. And we're talking this summer about sales. And so many times we hesitate on sales. We're just not sure about it. We totally avoid it. We hate the word. We don't like it. New people come in and say, or they don't come in because they say, no, I don't want to be a salesperson. So last week we talked about why don't we want to be a salesperson? What does a good salesperson look like? What do they not? And we also talked about the sales cycle that is totally normal. And so is this buyer readiness skill that we're going to talk about today. So years ago, I don't even know where I got this information from. It was some video that I had watched. Honestly, I'm not sure where I got it. And I printed it out because I really thought that this image that I had found, it was just pretty simple, was helpful. But I've redone it and made it specific to our type of business so that we can have a visual to go along with this. Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I'm shocked when I talk to somebody and they order right away. And I'm like, what? Like, did I say some magic word? Like, how did they just got it? And they're like, yeah, show me the order form. Let's go. And then other times I'll talk to them and it could take months or years before they order. Have you guys noticed that? So why is it that some order right away, some take a very long time, some say no, thank you, and then maybe even come back years later? We know that part of it is their need, right? Like what is happening in their life. And it's absolutely true. But I really feel that this training and this document I'm going to show you guys, and I'll screenshot it. So don't worry about doing that. I'll put it into our DMO chat. If you're not in that Voxer chat, go ahead and screenshot it when I share it. But we can really gauge where people are at on this scale. And I think it's going to help us not get frustrated in the conversation process. So in that sales conversation, and as we're sharing with people, I'm really hoping this will help you, because as I thought it through and I worked it out in my head and got it on this image, that's often how my brain works. I'm very visual. So if I can put it into an image, if I can put it from head to something that I can see and refer back to, I will like internalize it a lot more. So and part of the creativity of my mind, I think, is that way. So if you're that way, start finding some way you can do that. For me, it's Canva. I love Canva. It's so easy. You can easily do presentations or make an image. So I wanted to share this with you guys. So I'm going to share my screen this morning so that you can see this. And let me just go back and find where it's at. Okay, so I'm going to move all of us over to the side, and I'm going to minimize this. Okay, can you guys see this where it says the buyer readiness scale? Someone give me a thumbs up on that. Okay, here we go. So I feel like I wish I had an hour to go over this with you guys, because I think we could dig in deep. So we may go over 30 minutes today. Just if you have to hop off, obviously hop off. But I think there's some really good nuggets here. There's two parts to this page. And so they both fit together. So we're going to talk about on the bottom of the page first. Okay. So someone is less ready to buy, or they're more ready to buy. And this little bar here is like that kind of sliding bar as you're thinking about where are they? Okay. That's what that is in the middle. So when we're just overarching any type of purchase that somebody's making, they're less ready to buy if the product is expensive, if it's hard to understand, and if there's a high commitment. Okay. So the audience is going to be very skeptical. They have a low awareness, so they're going to have lots of questions. It requires more trust, more rapport, and more relationship building for them to purchase something. All right. Think about your own self. Think about yourself in something that you've wanted to buy, a car, a house, something that has a monthly commitment to it, something that is it's going to hit your wallet or your bank account a lot more than a quick, $20 dress on Amazon, right? So we're more likely or more ready to buy when it's an impulse buy and it's cheap, when it's easy to understand, when there's a low commitment to it, and our audience is little has little or no skepticism. They're very aware, so they don't have lots of questions. I see that I did not fix that. They don't have very many questions, and it requires little to no trust, rapport, or relationship because there's not a commitment to that. It's low commitment, okay? So let's just use something as an example that I had this last a couple weeks ago. I had been watching on Facebook some ads for a company that works with network marketers, and they were talking about using social media more and the system that they had come up with to help you get out into the marketplace and for people to be asking you to join their team and to buy your products. And so, of course, like, I'm interested in that. Like, who wouldn't be, right? So I've seen their ads for a while. And so you could get on a call with someone. They called it like a business coach. I don't remember, some sort of coach. And they just were going to walk you through what it was. I thought that's what it was going to be. It was not. It was buy this really expensive. It was a $5,000 commitment to training with them over a 6-month period of time. And I was like, in my mind, I was thinking back to this because that was expensive. That was a big expense, $5,000. I kept asking questions. I had so many questions and I really wasn't getting answers. It was kind of like, you'll find that out in the training. Like, it's different than anything else. Okay, but how is it different? Like, I do training. I've been in this industry for 21 years. Like, how is this really different? And is this something that I could take this information and duplicate it in my team? Because I said, I'm not interested in getting 100 customers. I'm just not. I want something that I can learn and get some customers, but that I could teach my team to all get customers. Like, how duplicatable is this? Oh yeah, it's totally duplicatable. How is it duplicatable? Like, I just was not getting the answers I wanted, right? So I was very skeptical. I walked into that super like, it was I thought it was like kind of an exploration call. It was to see how close you were on this readiness scale to order their $5,000 program, right? So I had a low awareness of what this program was. It definitely, she did a good job of building some rapport with me, but it was a high commitment. I was very much on the less ready to buy, correct? So that was definitely not an impulse buy. It was not easy to understand. It was not a low commitment. I did have skepticism. I was not very aware. And so I was on, on this side, the less ready to buy. Okay, let's use that and move up to the top of this here. So when you're looking at what state of willingness is a customer in, that may be in regard to the purchase of a product, that's a buyer readiness scale overall. This is sales talk that you would probably get at some sort of sales training if you worked for a company that brought somebody in to do some sales training for their force, for their sales force. So what is the state of willingness that a consumer may be in regard to the purchase of their product? When you're talking to someone, you can think about this and like, where are they on this scale? So let's talk about awareness first. So when you're talking awareness all the way to the left, they have minimal or limited problem or product information. Okay, so and then on the other side is they're ready to purchase. So they're somewhere in the middle of this conversation. So obviously in this case, I was not very aware and I was not ready to purchase. I had a desire and the interest was there, but I definitely didn't have enough knowledge either. And the knowledge that she was giving me wasn't taking me to more interested and more desire. I was still going backwards. Like, I needed more information and I still felt limited on what I was hearing. It didn't move me closer to the purchase state. Okay, so let's drop that example and let's just talk about somebody we have just started a conversation with Juice Plus. It's someone you don't know. You're just in a networking type situation. You meet someone and they ask you what you do. So they have little awareness at all of what you do. So then you say, oh, I help people, busy families, simplify their nutrition. And they're like, Okay, what is that? What do you mean by that? And then I would say, have you ever heard of the company called Juice Plus? It's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. So you know how most people are not eating 7 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables? I help them do that through capsules and gummies. And then I just stop and I let them respond to that. So if this person is minimal information about health and wellness, they don't know how fruits and vegetables work in our body. They have very limited thought process that fruits and vegetables prevent disease, bad food causes disease. Their awareness is very minimal, correct? So I'm going to have to discover that need in them. So what is in bold is kind of like where they're at. What's underneath that in the smaller print? That's where this is our action steps of what we can do. If you recognize someone's like really their awareness is very low on what we have. So we want to discover what their need is. We're sharing information and we share our stories, little bits of information that go back to what their need is. And we're sharing our stories. I'm like you, you're like me, we're the same. This solution was helpful to me. Okay. So once you've gotten the awareness a little bit higher, or what if it is like a gal that I'll give you 2 examples. A gal that I talked with, very aware of fruits and vegetables, the power of fruits and vegetables. She took 2 other competitive products, if you will, and had for like 20 years. She seemed very happy with the products that she had. And she wasn't very interested in what I had to say about Juice Plus. She was like, I'm this, like, we're the same. Her interest was the red box. It says aware of the benefits. She knew the fruits and vegetables were important. She was making a connection and she was comparing to the products that she already takes. And there really wasn't a point in our conversation to overcome her objections. So I just started trying to build the confidence in what we had with Juice Plus by inviting her to events that we did as a community, our sourdough event and things like that. She heard the presentation at the sourdough event. There was no interest. Like we're friends and we do stuff together. She came over and we were going to be going to a festival together and there was Juice Plus on the counter. But the day before, she had been at at our house for lunch after church. And my parents were talking and my dad shared his story, his specific story of the blood work that he had gotten back from the doctor and how he's almost 70, he's on no medication. So I'm like, I can tell she's listening. So I am just like fueling this conversation. Tell me more, Dad. That's awesome. Then what did she say? You know, and we're talking and the nurse knew what Juice Plus was and totally amened it. And she was listening. The next day she comes, the gummies are on the counter and she says, so is this the Juice Plus gummies? And I was like, yeah, you want to try them? She eats them. She didn't know her daughter could get them for free. I don't know how we missed that in the conversation. I barely spoke of it. She asked me a couple more questions during the day, but we just had a great time together. And then before she left, I said, hey, are you open to Juice Plus? Like, I would like to send you a link for you and Nicole to order. And she was like, yeah, go ahead and do that. I sent her the link and she ordered within 5 minutes of me sending her that link. Okay, so that was 8 months, probably 7 months from when I very first shared that with her. Something happened during that time to where her knowledge was built a little more about Juice Plus. Her interest was there. Then her desire grew as she became more confident that this was a solution. And then she was fully convinced and she intended to buy it and she was ready to purchase. So we don't know where someone is at on that scale. Another example is the guy was cleaning out our chimney and he was super nice guy. I had no idea who he was. I did not know his family story. I knew nothing about him. But as we were, he just was easy to talk to. Before he left, in like that little Juice Plus angel and devil on your shoulder that are telling you like, tell him. And the other one's like, you don't know him, but you have to tell him. He'll think you're crazy. I was like, I'm never going to see him again. I'm just going to talk to him. So I said, hey, Robert, I know this is kind of out of the blue, but before you leave, I just want to tell you about something that has made a huge impact on my family's health. And I have no idea where you are at in all of this health and wellness. but this is something that has really helped us. It's called Juice Plus. It's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And I just don't know. I just feel like I want to share this with you. So he ends up buying that day. Before he left, he ordered. What? Why? Because he had a high awareness of fruits and vegetables. He was aware of the product, but he didn't know the options. He didn't know how you order that sort of thing. He had heard about it at some point. His interest was really high because he was aware of the benefits of fruits and vegetables, and he was comparing it to Balance of Nature that he had seen online. So I was kind of overcoming some of those objections with him. His desire was really high because his wife had died from cancer less than 2 years before, and he had like seen that up front, recent, and what that was, and he had a desire to protect his health. And so I didn't have to share very much to convince him. More, I was talking to share how this was a superior product. I talked some about the research, but it was the right timing for him. And so he purchased that day. I went and got the order form. I showed him. I outlined the steps for purchasing that. And now we're talking even about him partnering with us because he's given me a couple of referrals. So when you're talking to someone, those are just two examples. I just want you to think about, where are they on this scale? Where were you on this scale? I had very low and limited information about nutrition or the product. I just met her at a health. It took time for Sharon to move me from awareness to get me to even watch a video and to hear the information, to come to a presentation, for my interest to grow, because I started thinking, okay, I think that I'm starting to make connections in my mind. I think that this might help Jared's health, and maybe it would help Colin's health too. And then she kept following up with me to where I became confident that this was a solution to the problem. And she was able to share some about the research with me and connect that it was the right timing for me. Now was a good time with Colin being so little, until I was to the point where I was fully convinced and I was ready to buy, and she showed me how to do that. So if you became a customer right away on the first time somebody shared with you, I want you to think about, did you already have high awareness? Did you have a lot of knowledge about health and nutrition? Were you interested in finding a way to get fruits and vegetables? Were you looking for that? Were you had a desire to find some way to do that so that you were more ready to purchase? So that's one side. I want you guys to think about that. Where are the people at that you're talking? I can't be frustrated with someone who has very minimal and low awareness of nutrition and a problem. I cannot expect them to purchase the first time I talk to them. If I do, they're going to feel that. They're going to feel pressured. They're not going to feel heard. They're going to feel like, why is she trying to make me do something I'm not ready to do? And that's where salespeople will go wrong. They're more interested in getting that sales than they are really helping the person feel confident and ready to order. If we're talking to enough people, this is easy. If you're talking to 5 people, this is not easy, because you're stressed about getting them to the next level and why aren't they here and how many times do I have to tell them? You're going to feel frustrated, they're going to feel the pressure, and it's not good. If you have enough conversations going out there, I would like to suggest about 40 conversations with people. You're sending them information, you're following up with them, not that you're doing that every day, right? But like over maybe a 2 or 3 week span, you're touching those little conversations, you're inviting them to a next presentation. It could be even over a couple of months, but you've got enough of those people out there that you're just feeding little info to at a time. Then you're going to help move them through this and help move them to the point where they're ready to order. Let's go back to the bottom of this chart again. Less ready to buy or more ready to buy. If your person you're talking to has very low awareness of the importance of fruits and vegetables and the disease nutrition connection, they will think Juice Plus is expensive because they don't know how important fruits and veggies are, and they're just buying, vitamins from Walmart or nothing. They're not taking anything. It'll be harder for them to understand it, right? They're not going to get it right away. They will feel this is a high commitment to them. They have to pay $80 a month. I have to pay $80 a month for this. They're going to be skeptical. They're going to have lots of questions like, well, can I just order this a month at a time? What if my kids don't like it? Like, how do you know all those fruits and vegetables are in there? Where are those fruits and veggies grown? They're going to have questions like that, right? So they're going to have lots of questions. It's going to take more to build rapport and trust with them. And it could take longer to build that relationship into them, right? Especially if they're cold market. If they are warm market and they're at this place, maybe it's somebody in your family, the relationship is already there. Lean on that, right? Like, trust me, I've looked into this. Like, this is what our family has chosen to do. And like, you lean into that, you do have a relationship with them. But if you can understand, if they have a low awareness and low knowledge and their interest isn't even there because they didn't even know about this yet and they don't have a desire for it, it's going to feel expensive. It's going to feel like it's hard to understand. It's going to feel like a high commitment, and they're going to be less ready to buy. If you're talking to somebody who already has a high awareness, they have a lot of knowledge about health and wellness and about fruits and vegetables, they've been thinking about ordering some sort of whole food supplement, the desire is there, they do feel confident, then Juice Plus is going to seem like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. I eat this many servings of fruits and vegetables. You mean I can get the nutrition of 30 different fruits and veggies for like less than $3? Like, yes, I can't get that at the store. Yes, that totally makes sense. That's easy to understand. Yeah, that's a no-brainer to me. Put that in my budget. Yeah, I'm not at all skeptical. I'm very well. I don't have a lot of questions, and I trust you've looked into this. Yeah, I'm ready to purchase. Okay, so their awareness is going to move them on this scale probably more than anything, their awareness and their knowledge. And so you've got to evaluate, like when you're talking to them, where are they on this? And I think that this should help us not to get frustrated with people, right? And frustrated with that conversation, because you can see, oh, you'll start to recognize they're very aware. They actually have a lot of knowledge in this, but they're really not interested in another product. They're already taking something else and they're happy with that. They're really not confident that they need this, so they're probably not going to buy right now. If that's where they're at in that interest stage or that knowledge interest, you just keep building onto that, and you're wanting to build it to the point where they're desiring that from themselves, and that's probably going to be through an event. If they're at awareness and they're minimal awareness and they're not very aware of the product, but or just of fruits and vegetables in general, you're probably going to be more on the, hey, watch this video. Let's have another conversation. Watch another video. You're going to be sharing more knowledge with them. And if they're sort of interested, like in that middle, now you're starting to build the confidence. How can you help them see that this is a superior product to what they've taken and move them to the point of purchase? Is this helpful to you guys? Okay, unmute yourself if you've got questions. Maybe you want to share an experience you've had. Maybe you can, see where you're at yourself on this. Let's just talk about this. And remember, you're muted.
Hey, I'll go again.
Hi, Patty.
But this is perfect because I have been talking to somebody about the affiliate program for the Tower Garden. She came back this morning saying, it's just too expensive. They don't have a place to put it. And I didn't take any steps. Actually, I was jumping on this call too, but it's just such a reminder, she's aware of it, but her husband's not, and she doesn't see how, maybe they can afford it. But if you start sharing, she came to one of my sourdough events and she's like one of the sourdough queens in this area now. So I just, it just really made me realize I did not do my to-dos and get her educated.
Well, you're at the interest state with her, right? Interest stage, not interstate. You're helping her overcome her objections. So she's saying, I don't have space for it. I don't know if I can afford it. I'm interested, but my desire is not strong enough to move me to the point of purchase. Does she take Juice Plus?
She does not, and we've talked about that before. She's more interested in the Tower Garden, so I thought that would be a foot in the door, but it's her husband. And, I always say, try not to be that third-party expert, make sure you point it to somebody else or, have them come over. They live right down the street. Come over and look at mine because she has seen mine. And, but I think educating on this case, how much money they're going to save in produce, it's a no-brainer right there.
Right. And if they're just not moving towards purchase, I go back to Juice Plus and I say, look, I love my tower garden. I grow a lot of produce on there. I get a lot, but it has not had the impact in our family's diet and our health like Juice Plus has, because they grow all the fruits and vegetables for us. They do all of the hard work that we want to do. It's like a garden in a capsule. And that may be more of actually what you're looking for. If you're looking to get, an ease of getting more produce into your diet, there's nothing easier than these capsules, and it's backed by research. So now you're just trying to evaluate where she is at on that, but you're still at the comparing to competitive products right there, right? Because you're now comparing Juice Plus to the Tower Garden, but sometimes that can help them move more towards Juice Plus, which is really where we're going to help them the most. I love the Tower Garden and it's definitely beneficial to people's health, but not like the capsules. I mean, it's just not, because they're not going to eat 30 fruits and veggies off of that tower like they are with Juice Plus. And so
and the ease of it, one of her complaints is, we don't know where we're going to put it, especially in the winter. And so it's like, yeah, you don't have to worry about where you're going to put your Juice Plus, right?
yeah, and you can say, you know what, I thought of something because space wasn't a concern for you. I thought of a way that you can get 30 fruits and vegetables in your kitchen in about a 5-inch footprint on your counter, just kind of jokingly say that, like, look, this is the ease. This is what has helped our family the most. So yeah, these tower garden conversations can absolutely lead to strong Juice Plus conversations. The awareness of the need for produce is there, right? So you're already there. She's got a high interest, but Tower Garden is not an impulse buy. It's not a cheap buy for people. It is easy to understand. And I think it's a low commitment because you don't have to, pay. But like, it's low commitment to me because I get it. I have a high understanding of it. All of those things that makes it easier for me to buy. I am the audience, but somebody else may not be there at that point. Thank you, Patty, for that.
Thanks,
Anyone
Stacey.
else?
I have a question if you'll want to take that.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to my upline today. I have a neighbor who saw Juice Plus quite a while ago, a couple of years ago, but she's been sick and she's got some respiratory thing, mold and all that at her work. And so we were having this discussion. She does know the value of fruits and vegetables. She doesn't like to take, she likes natural solutions. So she was asking me yesterday, what was that supplement I mentioned? So, and how much does it cost? So I'm thinking I should have probably, after talking to my upline, maybe taken a step back, because I sent her the price list mostly because that's what she asked for. And I knew she wasn't feeling good, this and that. So anyway, she kind of came back. So I mentioned again today, sorry you don't feel good, blah, blah, blah. I like to take preventative measures. I gave her the thing yesterday, the price list. And I told her what I take, because I did this because I knew I wasn't going to have a chance to talk to her because she wasn't feeling good. But hindsight being 2020, I'm not sure if that was the best way or if I gave her too much information. But this morning she writes back after I wrote her again. She says, I'm doing a little better. The cough is now the worst part. Went to the ER. I did look at the sheet. I'll have to think about it. So this tells me in my head, it's a money thing, because she always talks about money. So I asked her if she was open to having a conversation with a friend of mine who's been through a similar journey. She asked what kind of a journey. I said cancer and respiratory crud that you're going through, because she's been through breast cancer and that. So that's kind of where I left it. But and she said she'd like to when she feels better, but So I'm just kind of.
Yeah.
Step back. I do.
I think you're doing great, Lisa. I think you're feeding her information. You're being aware of where she's at in her life right now. Like when you don't feel good, yeah, you're desperate for a solution, but you don't always move forward with it because you're not clear-headed, because you just don't want to make an impulse buy when you're not, feeling well. So I think continue to love on her and just check on her. Let her know again that this friend would like to help, and a 3-way call with her. She seems open to that. I think that's exactly where she's at. So looking at that scale, where do you think that she's at on that?
Well, I know she has an interest. Her biggest thing is always the money portion, but I've mentioned the business and we've talked to her about that, and she's nowhere interested in the business. So that's why I'm kind of like, she's got the desire, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure. She's someplace between interest and desire, I would say.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say that too. You're still at the place where you're overcoming her objections. So she's less ready to buy because she's still thinking it's expensive. And she feels like it's a high commitment. So if you can work on those two things, I don't think is she skeptical? Is she concerned? Like, am I going to spend money on this and it's not going to actually help me? I've taken all these other things. I've tried all this other stuff. I don't want to waste any more money. If she's kind of in that thought process, when you're talking to her, you're sharing information that's going to build her confidence, and that's going to move her to the desire to want it. So you're sharing to convince, and that this is a good product and that this is the right timing for her. You can't just say those words, right? Like, come on, what are you thinking? Like, this is so much better, and just let's go with it. This is the right time. You don't feel good. Like sometimes we want to say that, but if we know that's where she's at. Tap, what you have.
Dr. Mitre has a 1:32-second video where she touches on the plasticity of the immune system to fight things that you're having trouble fighting, the studies, that the cost is the best part, how inexpensive it is, and it's so quick you can get almost anyone to watch it. I'll post it in our DMO chat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For anyone who wants to start using it, but it's often my opener when someone is gun shy on whether they're going to watch something. They have a really hard time saying they can't find a 1:32.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's great. And Tap, that's a great thing for us to think about. What video, what resource are we going to share on this scale? Like, I think that's a great one to have in our pockets in our boards, that like, if we had this built out, like, okay, awareness, what are some good videos that I can send them for awareness? What about like sharing more of the product and the options for them? What are some easy overcoming objections videos? Like if we could build out those to where those are the ones we sell, that we are share, that we know when we're in the conversation kind of at this point, this is a good next step for them. So that's a great one for us to start thinking about and sharing. That's excellent. Thank you, Tap. Anyone else? All right. Well, let me stop the recording here.